Pride Month.
Yay!
I don't really need to explain why Pride Month is so important to the LGBTQ community. It's a celebration, it's a reminder of how far we've come, and it's also a time to reflect on what's happening to us. Is there any injustices we're going through, like what's happening at the moment with the trans community and so many anti-LGBTQ bills that are being passed through the parliaments and the senates of different countries. There's a lot of much smarter people and people who can explain these kind of things better than me who are doing that. So today I want to talk about representation and how representation can help people, using this dumb sack of a person for an example. For today's video, I don't have a script. I don't really have much of a plan except for a couple of titles of the different musicals. I'm just going to talk. This is just my time to go back through my history, go back through the different musicals I've watched, and kind of show you a journey. Let's start at the beginning. So I'm about 13, 14, and I'm seeing musicals every summer with my family. We'd seen Les Mis, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Cats, loads of different musicals, and for once, my mum picks Kinky Boots. This is my first look into drag as like a concept. As a child, I had that healthy little taste up, little bit of internalized homophobia. You know, when you're like 12 and you're calling everything gay because you think gay is an insult and, you know, you're very immature and you don't quite understand it. And what was interesting for me is that people knew that I was going to be LGBTQ. People knew. But when people are telling you something, when people are going, oh, you're going to end up being gay, you're going to be gay, you're going to be gay, it kind of stops you from coming out. Even if that's positive, even if that's something that, you know, they're being like, oh, you're going to be gay and that's absolutely fine, it still makes you want to not be it. It didn't help me at all to have all these people being like, oh, you're going to be gay. Honestly, if I didn't have it, I probably would have come out a lot sooner. I ended up repressing a lot of myself. And because I'm bi, because they got it wrong, I suppressed my attraction to men and just focused on attraction to women. I think seeing these musicals helped me, you know? There's a lot of shows I saw that did help me before I came out. I've just mentioned Kinky Boots being my first exploration of drag and gender identity and this absolute celebration of queer culture. It's such a fun show. Soon, just naturally through growing up, gay turned from having a negative connotation to something that was just there, you know? Love is love. I wonder how far back I would be if I wasn't introduced to these shows, if I didn't get to see these queer artists on stage, and even, you know, having friends who were gay. Would I still be beating myself up internally? I went to see Fun Home in the summer of 2018. I went with my friend Phoebe, who is a big gay. And the thing about Fun Home is there's a concept in Fun Home, and it's called a Ring of Keys moment. And it's the moment you realise. I mean, I kind of knew myself, but I was repressing it completely and I didn't want to explore it. I was so deep in this kind of lie about myself that I didn't even realise. When you want something so much, you just kind of repress it. And Fun Home taught me about the Ring of Keys moment. Now, I didn't have my Ring of Keys moment at Fun Home. My Ring of Keys moment didn't even happen when I was watching a musical. I was watching a play. At least it was linked to theatre, because then I can still talk about it here. And if I can't make it into content, I can't make it at all. I went to see Betrayal. I went to see a Harold Pinter play. A Harold Pinter play is how I realised I was bisexual. It was a 3-person cast. It was Charlie Cox, Tom Hiddleston, and Zay Ashton. And all throughout the play, I wasn't paying attention because I was just focusing on how all of the cast were really cute. It's this massive like story like of a relationship breaking down, going backwards, like starting at the end and going to the beginning, and all I can focus on is damn, say Ashton, Charlie Cox, and Tom Hiddleston are all very attractive people. Look, okay, my attention span is a lot worse than I would hope it would be. My attention span is awful. So now we've reached the midway point. I've talked about some shows I saw before I came out. Now let's talk about what I saw after I came out. The first show that I saw being out as bisexual was Jamie. And it was quite a nice experience, you know? I still don't really know all that much about like ballroom culture and all like the nightclub life and that kind of area of being queer because I'm still quite young. Lockdown kind of stopped me from going to any gay bars and like experiencing that. That's stuff that's still there for my future. So Jamie is like a nice introduction to that. Taking a few steps further into looking at drag and growing up being gay and having people ostracize you and how you can turn that from a negative to a positive, building your own family around you. A lot of these things that can help queer people. I'm quite lucky in the fact that I do have a lot of supportive people around me, and I think that Jamie did help to show me that you embrace that. You look for the people who will support you and you stick by them no matter what. And if someone isn't going to give you the basic respect, then that person's not worth having in your life. Jamie's just this celebration, this absolute explosion of just joy, just queer euphoria. Let's talk about the first time I saw a bi person on stage. Because to this day, I can say that I still haven't really seen bisexual people represented in the greatest way. Now, there's probably some musicals out there that I'm forgetting. Maybe there's something out there that is the greatest representation and I'm just missing it. But out of the shows I've seen, the two that I've seen that tackle bi representation are Be More Chill and Rent. Now. Now. If you don't know what the bi representation in both of these shows are, it's not good. In Be More Chill, there is a bi character. He comes out right at the end of the show, and it's just kind of there. It feels very unearned. It feels very weird. It feels kind of comedic in a way. And whenever I watch it, it just feels wrong. It doesn't feel like a true representation of the bi experience. It just kind of comes out and then says, oh, I want to date Michael because I'm totally bi now. When you kind of see your whole identity kind of joked about and not really represented in the way that you wanted to, it's kind of just upsetting. Now, to be fair, I appreciate Be More Chill for putting it in there. Like, I can see what they're trying to do, but at the end of the day, it feels hollow. I know this whole video is about how important representation is for for my journey, but I kind of wish it just wasn't there at all. I kind of wish that we had a different bisexual character in the show, or even that it was reworked so that it was better. I just think it's a shame that they had this opportunity to represent bi people and it ends up feeling very hollow. I will say that I'm very thankful that it didn't go down the other direction of bad bi representation, and that's why I do kind of give Be More Chill a little bit of a pass on it. Because if you look at how bi people are represented usually in the media, it's very promiscuous. It's usually a villain. And there's always some kind of cheating storyline and oh, everyone wants to date me, and which is just wrong. No, please don't. This is where we talk about Rent. Because Rent has a bi character in Maureen. Maureen as a character is very promiscuous. flirts with everyone. Her bisexuality is portrayed as a joke and a gag, especially at the start of the show. I don't think she's even said to be bi. You can kind of assume it. I can't point at either of them and say that they're great representation. I think we need to be striving now for more bi characters in theatre, more gay characters in theatre, more representation of the entire LGBTQ community. Because I can sit here and I can say, boo, I don't like any of the bi representation. But then you take a look at it and you look at some of the other communities. Asexual people, I can't name a single character. Non-binary people, I could name a character, and then they decided to cut out the character. Point to trans people who are constantly being played by cis actors. We should all be teaming up as an entire community to make sure that all of our underrepresented people are represented where it matters. We have shows like Kinky Boots, Fun Home, Jamie, all of these amazing shows that bring us really good representation. And even if I think Rent's a bit outdated on the area of having one bisexual character who kind of falls into the stereotype, I gotta say how much the recent Hope Mill theatre production helped me with a lot of stuff. Because that show had a cast full of trans performers, gay performers, lesbian performers, bi performers, non-binary performers, and seeing that representation on stage, even though it was filmed in the end, was so inspiring. I don't like coming out. I really don't. But recently I have been questioning a lot about gender and a lot about that. And I've got to say, seeing non-binary people on stage really helped me. I've been going through this myself and everything. I definitely think there should be more representation for non-binary people. Maybe if I had seen that, and if other people see that, maybe something like non-binary as a concept would be more accepted, and maybe I would feel a lot more comfortable in talking about that. But I'm still at the start of that kind of journey. I'm not going to say anything yet about that. That's subtle coming out. Is that subtle enough? I think at the end of the day, there are so many great gay musicals. We're starting to see more non-binary performers front and centre on our stage. We're starting to have a discourse about why it's hurtful for cis people to play trans roles. I can't tell you how much having this representation has helped me realising that I'm bi and going through what I'm going through with gender right now. Looking at these examples is so helpful. And even going beyond theatre and looking at other media. Take a look at children's cartoons like The Owl House and Steven Universe. These TV shows that are showing acceptance to children. And I can't tell you how helpful it would have been as a 10-year-old to see good representation of LGBTQ people on my screen. Maybe I would be a lot further in my journey if I had had that when I was young. It's great to see lesbian characters, great to see gay characters, great to see trans characters. Pixar's making a film with a trans character in it, a trans child, and it's like, we're taking so many great steps. I just hope that every area can follow suit. I hope that theatre, even though it's been very good for loads of years and has had loads of gay people, within the cast, we can work together to get more representation front and centre on our stages and even backstage. I mean, you can see it now. Look at the production of The Wiz that's coming out, that's put out notices saying trans, non-binary people, we want you to come and audition. We're seeing movements. Maybe it doesn't go far enough yet. Maybe there's still so many more steps to take, but these steps are being taken. I think we can still push further, but we have to appreciate that steps are being made. And when those steps aren't being taken far enough, we can talk about that. We can be calm. We can use our voices to propel it further, to get the change that we want to see for the LGBTQ community, but also beyond that. I just hope that we can all come together to have theatre that reflects how diverse and beautiful the world is, and put that on stage for everyone to see themselves in.